you must know the difficulty the medical system is in this province.
Yes.
Not this province, but probably every province. Especially mental health. I've been trying for almost 2 weeks to get someone to be seen by mental health, and it's very, very difficult. Many of the mental health problems, depression, anxiety, and PTSD, are due to problems in the past that people just can't let go of. And in a sense, their past controls their future. PTSD is certainly something which is in the news a lot, and it seems to me there's either an awful lot more of it happening, or else it's being reported a lot more than it used to be.
Yes.
And all sorts of treatments are being tried for these, if you can access them, including psychiatry, psychotherapy, behavioral modification, medication, mediation, meditation, healing circles, and there are support animals which people get to help with these diseases. But there seems to be more and more in spite of all these efforts. And it always amazed me that one thing that never seems to be tried is a spiritual approach.
Yes.
And it's not just a spiritual approach, because according to government, all religions are equal. Therefore, if you put one in, you have to put them all in. But it's not tried, seem to be in any manner at all. It was once stated, what makes Christianity so special among the religions? Philip Yancey wrote a book in which he reported a congress that was being held in England, where this particular problem was being debated. What's so special about Christianity? And during this conference, C.S. Lewis apparently walked into the room and asked what they were debating about, and he said, that's not a problem. It's grace. Grace is what makes Christianity so unique. But grace is something which is never really applied or mentioned to people who are having mental problems. So what are people who are really seeking treatment for? Because many of these people talk about getting revenge against someone who abused them, someone who misled them, someone who mistreated them, someone who hurt them. And their focus is on how to get satisfaction, either through revenge or through remediation, somehow to make the other person pay for what they've done. But what's the real purpose? Is it revenge? Or is it what Caroline already mentioned? Peace. Peace. Laura Hildebrand, in a book called Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption, reports this. Of a Louis Zamborini. In 1943, he was a member of an 11-man bomber squadron, bomber crew of a bomber that was shot down over the Pacific. Only 3 people survived the accident, and they were adrift in a life raft for 47 days. One person did not survive that drifting. They died during that time. They survived on rainwater, raw fish, and the occasional raw seabird that landed on the raft. After 47 days, they came to rest on an island, which was occupied by the Japanese. They were taken prisoner. And for the next 2 years, they were abused, they were beaten, they were tortured, They were deprived. They were worked to the point that many people in that compound also did not survive. But Lewis did, until the end of the war, when they were liberated. Upon his return to the States, he had one thought, and that was to take revenge against the Japanese officer who had abused him so much during the war and during his imprisonment. And he turned to try to treat his pain with alcohol, with drugs, with gambling, with bad business ventures, to the point that his wife, who was fed up with his thinking, his anger, his actions, was trying to leave him. This went on for 4 years, from 1945 to 1949. 1949, his wife went to a Billy Graham crusade. And after the first meeting, persuaded Lewis to go with her. And he did. In fact, he went back the next night as well. And something happened. He changed. He got rid of his alcohol. He stopped gambling. He got rid of all the anger that he had. He gave his life to Christ. And from that night, he had no more PTSD.
Thank you, Jesus.
It was gone.
Thank you, Jesus.
Completely. He became an evangelist and a mentor to students. What was the difference?
Grace.
The grace of God.
Yes.
Only the grace of God. One morning he was running away from God. That night he was running to Him.
Yes.
And that's the difference. And I think it could make a difference in so many other people if it were only applied in today's world.
Wow.
There are a number of cases in the Bible, 75 or so times, when the words peace and grace are mentioned. But always, grace comes before peace.
Yes.
If we want true peace in our lives, we have to first accept the grace of God.
Yes.
That's biblical. And that is something to think about.
Yes.